Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy, and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. If you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you find anything helpful, informative, or entertaining in this video, consider giving us a thumbs up. We love hearing what you have to say, so consider making a comment. All right, guys, this video is going to be what sold for the week of May 14th through 20th. Let's get started. The first thing we sold was a 2019 McDonald's Happy Meal toy. It was a teeny tie Pocket the Penguin, item number 7. This we got at a garage sale in a big box of Happy Meal toys. We paid 11 cents per toy, and this sold only for $7 even, but we still made a profit on it. Sold on best offer. Next up was a vintage Magic Johnson's tee. It was an all-over print, and it was a Washington Redskins vintage shirt. I actually had to do some research to make sure it was okay to sell Washington Redskins merchandise on eBay, and I reached out directly to eBay to ask if it was allowed, and they confirmed that it was allowed. And we do still have some other Washington Redskins vintage memorabilia, like t-shirts and sweatshirts that we had gotten at this same estate sale that are still listed on eBay. So we're waiting to sell those items. This one was the most valuable one that we found, and it sold for $60 even on best offer, and we had paid $3 for it. Next up was an item that we got in the B-Stock liquidation palette. This was a Beats by Dr. Dre pill speaker. It sold for $119.99. I do know how much we paid per item finally. I've taken the time, actually last night I sat down and took the time to build a spreadsheet. Last night we also finally got every single item from that liquidation lot listed. So we are actively working on that video. We've started editing it, and like I said, I started working on the spreadsheet that's going to give us all the data that we need to be able to tell you our numbers. So that video, I promise, is going to be coming out really soon, and we're going to be able to tell you exactly how much we spent on that palette, how much we do expect to make on that palette, and what our recommendations are, and basically what our experience was. So we will be, I promise that's coming out soon. I know I've been promising that for a while, but it has just been a real beast to get through that thing, and now we're having to deal with like crunching all of those numbers, and that's another beast. So be patient with us. We promise we're working on it, and we want to do a good job on that video. But that Beats by Dr. Dre pill sold, and that one sold for pretty good money. That one was new open box. That's why that one sold high. Next up was the brand was Velvet Heart. It was a women's extra small. It had a bird print. It was a button-down shirt. This we got at a thrift store. We paid $3.78 for it, and it sold for $19.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was an art print that we got from the other business that we own. This was, the name of the print was Royal Blue, and it was a bluebonnet landscape by a Texas artist named Royce Roberts. This sold for $54.38 on offer to buyer. Next up was a 6-piece set of Department 56 Christmas Village. They were like logs with snow on them. And they came with the original box, but 2 of the logs out of the box were missing. So typically this set would have sold for significantly higher, but since we were missing 2 of the logs, we did discount it. But we had only paid $2.71 for this at an estate sale, and it sold for $31.98 on offer to buyer, so we were very pleased with that. And it sold relatively quickly and out of season, so we were happy with that as well. Next up was a lot of 2 Tech Gear brand sports bras. These belong to me, and so there was no cost. I had worn these for a long time and no longer needed them. They sold for $11.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was one of the free magazines from the lot of free magazines that I got on Nextdoor. This was Coastal Living. It was the October 2007 issue. It sold for $7.99, which was our full asking price, and our cost was $0. Next up was the infamous Steve Madden leather wedge sandals that had been sent back to us claiming that they were listed as the incorrect size, and then when we got them back, they were the correct size. So if I can find it, I'll link the video where that where we referenced that before, although I don't know that it's like that interesting of a story. But there was a buyer that purchased them before and then sent them back saying that we misrepresented them, and we did not. Anyway, they were purchased again, and they're now in their forever home, hopefully. These we had paid $1.50 for at the Goodwill outlet, but we did have, well, I was gonna say we had the original shipping cost sending them out to the buyer the first time, so there was that. And then the second time they sold for $35.98 on offer to buyer, and we did get positive feedback on them this time, so that is good. Next up was a Dockers women's quarter zip sleeveless mesh zip tank top. This shirt, when we bought it at a garage sale, I think, yeah, at a garage sale, it was new with tags. But then I don't remember if there was a stain on it or it had a weird odor. For some reason, we had to wash it in the washing machine, take the tags off. So we normally wouldn't have bought this shirt used or without the tags. We had purchased it because it was new with tags. Anyway, then that devalued it since we had to wash it, but it could not be sold in the condition that it was, or we felt like it needed to be washed for whatever reason. So we had paid $1.25 for it at the garage sale, and it did sell for $13.58 on offer to buyer very quickly, and we got positive feedback on it. So, you know, we made money on it, and that's all good, but normally we wouldn't have picked up a used Docker shirt. That was the story on that. Next up was, it was a Elf on the Shelf Christmas train set. And it was used, but it had all the pieces. It was in like new condition. We tested it and it worked. It was in great shape. And we had gotten this at a thrift store after Christmas on the half off. They had all their Christmas items on half off. And so we paid only $2.71 for this. We were really excited about it, and it sold in the off season for $47.98. So that was a really great flip for us. We were pleased with that. Next up was a Silverado VHS movie, the movie Silverado, and I don't know why we picked this up. I think it was in a big box of other movies that we picked up for another reason. Maybe they were new in package and this one was just in there and we didn't realize it, or it was in with other books or something, and it was kind of like, oh, we got this, you know, now we own it, we're gonna sell it. Anyway, so we got this at a garage sale. We said we paid 83 cents for it, probably because it was a bulk deal and we had just averaged out our cost, and it sold for $6.99. Next up was a Maurices women's maroon short sleeve sweatshirt. It had like some lace detail on the sleeve. It was really cute. We got it at the Goodwill bins. Maurices tends to sell well for us. We paid 61 cents and it sold on best offer for $15. Unfortunately, it was returned to us because of a fit issue, and we have since we refunded the buyer and we've since relisted it. Next up was a pair of kids' shoes. These we got at a garage sale. They were brand new in the box, never been worn. They were navy like dress shoes. They were toddler size. We paid $3 for these and they sold for $15.99, which was our asking price. Next up was something we got in the B-Stock liquidation palette. This was a My Charge Power Hub portable charger power bank. This sold for $29.99 and we got positive feedback on that. Next up was a really pretty gold wooden box. It was lined with black velvet. It had a domed top and it was footed. So, you know, I described it as like a treasure box or a jewelry box. I think I just described it as a treasure box, but you know, you could have used it as a jewelry box, although it was pretty large and deep to be used as that. But it was beautiful. And we had paid $1.50 for it and it sold for $30 even on best offer. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was the brand was BYO by Built New York. And it was a neoprene zippered lunch bag with handle. We got this at the Goodwill bins. We paid $1.50 for it and it sold for $10. We had grabbed this because we had sold something else by Built New York before, but I don't think I would pick something up by this brand again because both of the items that we had sold were relatively slow moving and not, we didn't make enough of a profit on either one of those items to make it worth our while. We were just kind of testing the waters on those two items, but definitely not something that we would seek out again. Next up was a Joseph & Feiss International 100% silk purple men's necktie. This was in the Facebook Marketplace garbage bags of clothes that we got. We paid 67 cents per item for those, and this sold for $11 even on best offer. We had this for quite a long time, but those garbage bags of clothes were well worth it and we're still making money on them. That is a deal that I would definitely make again if I could find one. Next up was something from the B-Stock liquidation palette. This was a set of Samsung Galaxy Buds. These were the white ones. These were not the Galaxy Bud Pros. These were just the Galaxy Buds. And these were used condition. These were not in new condition. They were complete. They came with the box and everything. So these sold for $39.99 and they sold for our asking price. We got positive feedback on these. The good news about this liquidation palette is we have really only had an issue with one item so far that we've sold. Like that was one thing I was worried about, is that we would have complaints or that the items wouldn't work well. And so we took a lot of time. That's one of the things I'll mention in our upcoming video, is that we invested quite a lot of our own personal time in testing and taking time to make sure that all of the individual parts and pieces of the items that we received worked, were set back to factory settings. And so that was, you know, a major hassle, but it paid off in the end because we haven't had any complaints from buyers with the exception of one item. Next up was a set of two. The brand was Way to Celebrate. They were little 3.5-inch statues of patriotic bears. They were new with their tags. And we got these in the Goodwill bins. We paid 94 cents for them and they sold for a full asking price of $14.99. I'm always surprised when I find breakable items in the Goodwill bins that are not broken. It makes me want to pick them up that much more because I'm just amazed that they're not broken. Next up was a pair of Izod Golf men's dress pants, or golfing pants. These were khaki print. These were khakis, just solid khaki. I don't know why I said print. We got these in a thrift store for $2.17 and they sold on best offer for $18. These kind of took a long time to sell. When we've picked up golf pants in the past, the Nike ones have sold very, very quickly, and Adidas has sold slower than Nike, but it has also sold. But Izod has moved slowly for us. So Izod is not a brand that we would pick up, but Nike moves really fast. Nike moves fast in pretty much everything for us, with the exception of inexpensive women's tank tops and things like that. Next up was a pair of the children's saltwater sandals that I got in the shoe liquidation lot. These were the navy swimmer style. These sold for $44.99, which was our full asking price, and I paid $9.09 per pair for these. We got positive feedback on these. Next up was a pair of Birkenstock. These were the white EVA single strap rubber sandals. We got these at the Reseller garage sale. We paid $3.28 for each item that we got at that sale. We just did a bulk price with those sellers, and then we just said that each item we got at that sale was $3.28. And then these shoes sold for $19.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a vintage cookie pastry press by the brand Miro. We got this at an estate sale. This was the estate sale that we got kicked out of when we stayed past our welcome. They were closing and they asked us to leave because we were out in the garage. We didn't realize what time it was. This we paid $5 for, and it sold for $47.99. We got positive feedback on that, and the buyer paid our asking price, so that was a great sale. Next up was a pair of Rock & Republic men's jeans. These we got in the Goodwill outlet. We paid 67 cents, and they sold for $25.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was something from the B-Stock lot. This was an authentic JBL Horizon multi-sensory Bluetooth radio alarm clock. And I don't remember what all it did. I think it might have had some kind of like sunlight wake up feature, or sounds and lights kind of deal, but it sold pretty quickly. I was surprised. I might have underpriced it, but it sold for $33.18 on offer to buyer, and it was used. It didn't have the box or anything, so I thought I was pricing it really competitively, but looking at some of the other listings, I wondered how many of them were knockoffs, because a lot of them said authentic, original, and so I was wondering, if there were a lot of knockoffs on the market. And that's why mine sold quickly, because we definitely had an original JBL. Next up was a really good sale, and it was a pair of men's Thorogood leather slip-on safety toe work shoes. They had a composite toe, like a steel toe, but it was composite. So it was good for somebody who worked in like an electrical field. These we got for 50 cents at a garage sale, and they sold for $74.99. So that was a killer sale. We sold those for our asking price, and they sold really quickly. Next up was a 1987 vintage beginner's cross stitch kit by the brand DMC. This we got at a garage sale for 25 cents. I think it was in like a big lot of crafting or sewing supplies, and it sold for $7.99, which was our full asking price. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was something we got on the Out of This World curb alert, where we got everything for free on the curb. This was a box set VHS set called Conquest, Man's Achievements in Space. Everything on this curb alert was, well, almost everything in this curb alert was space related. The majority of it was. So we paid $0 for it, and it sold for $7.98. I found out about that curb alert by checking the Nextdoor app. Next up, these next 4 sales actually were Mercari sales. And we do not sell very much on Mercari. I had tested the waters on doing cross-posting using the Flip app, and I didn't really have anything against the Flip app. Actually, you know, it worked pretty well. There were just features of it that didn't appeal to me. I think my personality is just not suited for cross-posting. It stressed me out so bad. The idea of having to so carefully monitor, and then when you sell something on one, have to delist it on another, that part of it like really stressed me out. And then also I found that some of the elements of the listing didn't transfer so seamlessly from one app to another. And my personality, I just want to go in and fix all of that and make it absolutely perfect on every single listing on every single app. And knowing that it's not perfect and being able to just let go of that and say it's okay, you know, that it's okay for it not to be absolutely perfect. My personality does not jive with that very well. So for now, we're not cross-posting. We may decide to try it again in the future. I don't know. But for now, we're not doing that because I was stressing out like way too much about it. Way too much about it. So we let go of that for now. But while we were testing it out, we did have a few things cross-posted, and we still have, you know, maybe 5 things listed on Mercari that are cross-posted. Once I got them cross-posted, I didn't want to take them down. So we did have some sales on Mercari during that time. And, you know, I was pleased about that, and it shows that it does work. So I may need to reconsider my attitude about it and let go of some of my OCD about it. But I don't know. We'll see. It really stressed me out. Let me know if you have, you know, that type of personality and you cross-post. Let me know how you overcome that, because I was just like in full-on panic mode at times about I'm going to mess something up. And that I just could not reconcile that part of my personality with that element of cross-posting. Okay, so these are the things that sold on Mercari during my venture into cross-posting. And these are all things that we acquired in the B-Stock liquidation palette. The first thing we sold was a 2-pack Anker brand fast wall power port. These sold for $12 on best offer. We actually sold 3 of these. And then the other 2 sold for $15 each. Those also sold on Mercari. We got positive feedback on all 3 of those. Next, we sold a 4-pack of Anker brand. Also, these were USB lightning cable. It was a 4-pack, and it included some 3-foot cables and some 6-foot cables. These sold for $15 also, and they sold on best offer. And we also got positive feedback on those. And then last, I always go over the collectible cards that we sold from my husband's personal collection. This week, we did not list any high value cards. We just went with the regular old cards that we have listed. We were continuing to rectify the situation with the ended and sell similar, which we've completely fixed, and our card sales are doing really great. So ending the listings and doing sell similar did seem to increase our sales, but it was just kind of a nightmare fixing the situation that we have. And like I said, we were going to lose our top rated seller status if we can't sell enough stuff to dig out of that hole, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. If you want to see the full story, I'll link that video above and in the description box below. And finally, I'll go over the collectible cards from my husband's personal collection that we sold. This week, we did not list any high value cards or sell any high value cards. We just went with the regular old cards that we have listed, and we sold 10 cards for a total of $35.30, which was pretty good. We were pretty pleased with that. We are also working on that palette video, like I said, but I know I've mostly been doing what sold videos, and I apologize about that. We just have not been sourcing as much as normal because we have been focused on trying to get those items from the palette listed. So we have not been outsourcing. We have not really had any content to film. So as soon as we can get that palette video put out for you guys and then get our death pile completely listed, we will be back at it with sourcing and try to get some sourcing videos uploaded for you guys. That wraps up the video of what sold for the week of May 14th through 20th. If you did find anything helpful or informative or entertaining about this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, we would love it if you would subscribe. That would really help us out. And if you have anything to comment on for this video, we love to hear what you have to say. And thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next time.